Browns back out of here Thursday, getting ready to travel to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. And of course, quarterback two is still a big topic. And Mary Kay, we heard from one of the candidates for the job, and that is Shedeur Sanders today about, he didn't want to give any details, obviously, because nobody's giving us any details. But it was a chance to talk to Shedeur about just a number of things that have happened over the last few weeks.
That's right. And someone tried to ask Shedeur today about the criticism that he got from Rex Ryan, and he shut that down so fast. And he said, no more negativity. I'm not talking about anything negative. He has sworn off negativity. We'll see how long that lasts because he always seems to land in the eye of the storm. Sometimes not his fault, sometimes his fault a little bit. But he is swearing that off and just trying to keep just positive juju going around himself and this football team right now. But he said 100% he feels ready to play. He doesn't know what the coaches are going to decide yet as far as him being QB2 in Pittsburgh, but he feels ready to go, and we'll see how it ends up.
Yeah, and of course today we didn't hear from Kevin Stefanski. It's just the coordinators and of course players. So we'll hear from Kevin again on Friday after practice. Maybe when we'll find out, Ashley, but this is still very much a mystery.
Yeah, I don't typically hold my breath when it comes to finding out news in terms of the depth chart with this team. We know they typically like to not say anything, but we did hear from Tommy Reese today, and he really praised Shador Sanders for his development and how he's continued to improve even behind the scenes in these practices that are no longer open, of course. But again, Tommy Reese would not really give us anything in terms of who will be that number 2 quarterback.
Now, last night the Browns made a trade, sending Greg Newsome to Jacksonville in exchange for Tyson Campbell, cornerback for quarterback trade. Let's start with Greg Newsome, Mary Kay. Obviously, a guy playing on his fifth-year option. The Browns making the decision that they weren't going to extend him. Instead, they were going to trade him, and they go a different direction at cornerback.
Right. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that they can get another starting quarterback to step in for Greg Newsome at a discounted price. He will average somewhere in the neighborhood of about $15 million a year over the next 3 years. He's under contract through 2028. Greg, on the other hand, was playing on his fifth-year option, and his contract was up after this season. So if the Browns were going to extend him, and they intended to try, if they were going to do that, they were probably going to have to pay him the market rate of probably over $20 million. So now they get the same age quarterback, same draft class of a quarterback, and they're hoping a comparable player, maybe even a little bit better in their particular system for them at a discounted rate, and that's what this was about.
Yeah, and Ashley, it did obviously come as the second kind of shocking move that they've made with Joe Flacco on Tuesday, and then of course Greg Newsome late on Wednesday. And he was a guy that I know a lot of people in that locker room had a lot of affection for. Certainly a guy that was really good to us in the media as well. It was just a little surprising to see this happen.
Yeah, Greg to me is one of those glue guys, not just on this defense, but on this team as a whole. And it's something I think we've really gotten to see the last 2 years, unfortunately, when it comes to the success of the team, because when this team was 3-14 last year, when they got off to a 1-4 start this year, Greg was one of those guys who's always around, always vocal, always positive, and always willing to kind of do whatever it takes, help. Talked to Dom Jones a little bit today, and he talked about how, as a young player, how important Greg Newsome has been for him. And I think that stuff is the stuff maybe that guys are going to miss the most when it comes to Greg.
Now, a little more on Tyson Campbell. You mentioned it, Mary Kay. Part of the reason is the money, also the scheme fit, right? In Jacksonville, they changed schemes with the new coaching staff, a little more zone heavy, so maybe Greg Newsome fits there. Whereas here, the hope is Tyson Campbell can be a little more, he can thrive a little more and kind of find that game that got him extended in Jacksonville in the first place, playing in a little more physical, a little more man heavy system.
Yes, absolutely 100%. That's why this makes sense. At first blush, you look at this and think, why would they be willing to give up a really good cornerback? Nobody does that, especially because they signed him to a blockbuster 4-year extension in 2024 worth $76.5 million. They've already paid him a ton of guaranteed money out of that. So it just kind of gave me pause a little bit at first, thinking, what is this all about? But it is a lot about scheme fit. Greg should fit better there in their zone, and Tyson should fit here better here in their man-to-man. But of course, as Jim Schwartz said today, they also really like Dom Jones. So don't sleep on Dom Jones in terms of starting at that outside spot as well.
And we could get a look at Campbell on Sunday because Jim Schwartz, look, he was at practice today, and Jim Schwartz seemed pretty comfortable with just throwing him out there, Ashley.
Yeah, he said they've gotten guys up to speed even quicker than this, which is impressive because he kept saying, "Well, I haven't even met him yet. He just got boots on the ground." And then about 15 minutes later, we were out at practice and he was there in the stretching line with everybody else. So definitely going to be, I think, interesting. But I think I'm not surprised to hear Jim Schwartz is so confident in that, especially knowing he has a background in a similar system with the past regime in Jacksonville. So definitely something to consider. But yeah, the Dom Jones mentioned, not for nothing. I mean, I think we're going to see him play probably Sunday, regardless at this point of how ready Campbell is.
Okay, full coverage of that trade that happened on Wednesday and everything else that happened here in Berea on Thursday at cleveland.com/Browns.